I was 15 years old when I first came into the system. I was on sections and I kept absconding, and then when I was 19 I committed a serious offence, and I was sent to Holloway on remand for 9 months, where I was raped and bullied by prison officers and inmates. I've known Wish for 13 years and I found them very supportive. When I'm feeling down, I ring one of the advocates up, either Yvonne, Penny or Erin, and they give me give me positive, encourage me to think about positive things when I'm depressed and down, and how well I've done throughout the years up until now, and how well I'm doing at the moment, how much I've improved and things. When I'm feeling down and I talk to them, they tell me to focus on the good things that have happened and are happening in my life now. And then when I start to think about the positive things, it lifts my mood. I go for walks, I go to the gym, I go to classes, I swim, and all this helps me when I'm depressed. I hope to live a normal life and get married and have a family and just live more of a normal life other than being told what to do and take medication and comply with treatment. If I was off this section and off treatment, I'd feel a lot better. But in saying that, the medication has helped me, like the antidepressants helped me with my depression. I think if I weren't on them, I probably would have killed myself by now. It's uplifting talking to people from Wish when I'm feeling down, you know. They help me focus on the positive things that are happening in my life and to think about them when I'm feeling down. I speak to Yvonne once or twice a week and talk about normal things in life, like relationships, how things are going, how I'm progressing and stuff. And she gives me positive things to think about and focus on. I feel I've come a long way and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I'd like to do a lot more things with my life, and like go abroad and just have a family and be in a relationship, making new friends. I've achieved staying out of hospital for 2 years, going to college, trying to get my life as normal as possible, do normal things. I'd like to, in the future, go abroad, meet someone nice, start a family. Yeah, I'd like to finish my course and be a qualified gym instructor, but it is tough, you know. But I'm gonna do what I can do to get it. But if I don't get it, I can always try again, you know.
I'm a mental health service user. I was in hospital for 10 years. Throughout that 10 years I was on a Section 3, and throughout them 10 years I never won a tribunal or a manager's hearing because they thought I was a danger to myself and others. I don't think there's any proper pathways for women. The care is shoddy. Staff in hospital can be quite nasty. They're on power trips. They treat you really badly. That's where Wish comes in. They Wish help with difficulties like that. If a member of staff is victimizing somebody or giving somebody a hard time, Wish can speak to the people involved and sort it out for us. Do everything they can to campaign for policies and to campaign for women, to get more funding, to try and give women an easier time in the community or in hospital or in prisons. It was a long journey to get out of hospital. Wish really helped me get to where I am now. If I didn't have their support or their input, I don't think I would have made it through the 10 years. When I feel down, I'm a self-harmer. I'm hoping to get my teeth into something in Wish and maybe Westminster Mind, and just get involved in voluntary work until I can get some paid work. Well, I've been through the system and I know what it's like. The doctors just don't want to let you go.
You know, so many people want to know their history, their background, and so forth. But the way we work, we don't go in asking those questions. We go in. We approach women by generally just asking how they are, how things on the ward. You know, whether they're getting off the ward, whether they're having enough OT, occupational therapies, whether how life in general is for them on the ward, and we start building relationships from there, and then women will start saying to us, you know, they might not want to talk about life on the ward, but they might want to talk about the colour of your shoes or the colour of your dress, and that way they start engaging, but it takes a while for a woman to build a relationship with the worker. It doesn't happen overnight.
Well, Yvonne and I have worked in, for instance, in one hospital that we worked in, we just had to go in there, sit on the ward and be available for women to talk to, and it's quite hard to engage with. With some women it's very easy, but with other women it's quite hard, and there's not much that they've got to talk about apart from what's directly happening with them. So I always try to wear either quite amusing socks or shoes or funny earrings, or maybe you can see something nice about them, what lovely hair they've got, they've painted their fingernails, something like that that you can start talking about on an ordinary level and get into a conversation, and then from there you can develop a relationship.
Yeah, they see wish as a support, someone independent. The first thing women always say to me, you're independent, I can talk to you, I know it won't be written down. So being independent is very important. But we do stress to the women that whatever they say to us, we do work within a confidentiality policy, but within that, if a woman discloses to us that they will abscond or they're thinking of taking their life or harming another person, we will need to disclose that. So if a woman say to us, oh, I need to talk to you, you know, and if she start off by saying, well, I think I'm going to do this, you know, the worker will stop her there and say, well, you know, before you go any further, do you feel, you know, you want to share this with the clinical team? I'll be there to support you in sharing how you're feeling and what's going on for you. You know, and sometimes that helps, and sometimes women might say, yes, I feel better if you was there at a meeting and I can meet a nurse and share how I'm feeling. And we advocate a lot for alternative therapy, talking therapy, because many years back talking therapy weren't readily available in the hospital setting. And if a woman was referred for talking therapy, she would be placed on waiting lists, and she could be on waiting list for 2 years, and she wouldn't be able to move on, and that also blocked her pathway of moving on, because HRMO will say, well, until you complete your therapy, with talking therapy, we're unable to consider you for moving on to the next stage. And the talking therapy could go on for 3 years, 4 years. And even when women do complete therapy, could be in therapy for 3 years, you know, when they move on again to the medium,
start again, don't they?
They have to start again. The main thing is the weight gain for women and self-image.
The diabetes.
Yeah, self-image, because if you enter the system as a petite, slim person like Penny, and then within 6 months you're like a 20 stone with the pop, you know, with the high belly. For women, you know, your self-image, your self-esteem go.
And if you have very little confidence anyway because you're ill, and then you weigh 20 stone, that's not going to really help. In fact, I think it makes things very, very hard for them.
Wish has worked with hospital management in looking at dietary and gym and swimming, healthy lifestyle for women, because the part of the side effect for the women when they're on the antipsychotic medication is that they like a lot of sweet things. So especially when you go in the high, you usually find that women will be sitting with a litre bottle of Coke or fizzy drink beside them, and they'll be just drinking that all day.
In some places they're not even encouraged, but they're actually only allowed to have one cigarette every so many hours. And it doesn't matter how much they want a cigarette, they won't be allowed to have one until their time is up.
And if they kick off and get angry and say, oh, I need a cigarette, it could be extended for 2 hours if it was due an hour, you know. So
quite hard, that, isn't it?
It's quite hard.
Or there's a very small smoking room which is really small and unpleasant, and there are only a certain number of women allowed to be in there at once. So you can't have your cigarette until there's space for you to have it. So all these kind of things we don't have to think about. If we want a cigarette or a cup of tea, we can go and have one. These women are only allowed to have them when they're told they can have one. For instance, one of the things you could say about a woman's journey is, if you're in prison, there's a rule book. You can go to the rule book, you can look up what needs to be done in a certain situation in order to get what you want, or what you're allowed to do, or what you're allowed to have. Now, if you're in hospital, there is no rule book. You're not sure how you should behave in a certain situation. If you want something, you're not sure how you can get it. Sometimes you will be told by a member of staff you need to do X, Y, Z before you will be allowed to go out. Then you might find that somebody else has said something else. So they're very unsure of how they should behave in order to get their privileges, or of what we might consider to be a perfectly normal, everyday thing, like going out for a walk, being able to have your possessions in your room. If you don't behave in the way that's expected of you, you won't be able to have your possessions, but you're not sure what is expected of you because no one's told you what the rules are, and maybe next week the rules are different.